Greetings, fellow musicologists. I'm Alex Tamulis. Welcome to the channel. Let's celebrate Fear of the Dark today. It turned 30 just a couple of weeks ago, and because of work, I wasn't able to tackle it. But today, I got 30 points for you. This is a classic collection now, 30 years later, and this list is in no particular order. I have both positive and negative things about the album, so please stay tuned till the end to check the whole list. Number 30. Well, the sleek early 90s feel, the hard rock infused atmosphere, very much akin with the early 90s. If you think about it, everyone was bringing a more alternative vibe to their mixes. Well, thanks to the grunge revolution of the early 90s, you have Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Guns N' Roses, remember? Metallica, 1991, Megadeth with Countdown to Extinction. Fear of the Dark has that vibe, but still like a lot of room for Steve Harris's bass to pop through. Number 29, opening the album with that thrash-infused, fast-paced juggernaut track, showing some experimentation on Be Quick or Be Dead. So I'm going to come back to it later on because the song is one of their best. Number 28, the concept of the tree seen as a manifestation of our fear. Fear is an experience in our minds. It's something we create. We have to feed fear. So therefore, it's great to be imagining fear as a tree. It's got branches, it's got roots. I love looking at the cover and picturing the situations portrayed in the lyrics, which takes me to number 27, the fact that Eddie is the root of the tree. The brain is seen as the root. Fear is the idea, thoughts that really branch out and are all connected, which will take me to number 26, which is the dark patch on the left side of the cover. The dark itself representing manifestation of fear. The darkness is covering, it's slowly but surely invading the thoughts and being like the water to the fear tree. Number 25 now, the fact that Iron Maiden is here to quell that fear, to enlighten us. The logo on the dark patch showing that Iron Maiden has conquered the darkness and is here to tell us the story about it. Number 24, the record itself, decidedly dark, especially lyrically, with somber themes in Fear of the Dark, something that Bruce Dickinson has pointed out when talking about the album, I think in his 2017 biography, What Does This Button Do? Number 23, the song Wasting Love. Lyrically, the song revolves around a promiscuous man going to bed with people he didn't necessarily love, so there's an implication of, some promiscuous activity. And back in 1992, I don't think people they knew much about HIV and AIDS. And I think he missed the mark here a little bit because of certain remarks. But I think he understands now that he was not right. Anyhow, number 22, the kind of welcome to the jungle vocal style of Bruce. He began to incorporate more really overdrive, that really raspy, really fun style vocally, and right out the gate with Be Quick or Be Dead. So Kiss meets AC/DC on From Here to Eternity, that Angus Young style, Paul Stanley, Vince Neil. So you can totally picture Gene Simmons doing those lines, that begin at 2 minutes. So the guitar solo is also really remarkable. It takes you back to that Maiden territory. That's really amazing. They're trying to incorporate really contemporary influences, bands that were really popular in the late 80s and early 90s, like Motley Crue, Kiss, but they still have that 4, 5, 6 chord progression, the C, D, E minor, if you will. And it will always be there. It's the foundation to add great melodic guitar solos. Number 20, Melvin Grant, the cover artist that painted Eddie as the manifestation of fear, making the album, the first one without the artist Derek Riggs. I remember I was 10 years old and when the album came out, and it was just like a freaked the hell out of me, and I looked at it. I kept really staring at the cover and thinking, wow, what a cool cover. It goes really well with the songs. I think they truly nailed it. Number 19 now, fear is not the key. Knowledge is the key, okay? Fear can be the product of enlightenment. So do not be afraid to go to uncharted territories. You can take your time, you can evaluate things. But Bruce said that he doesn't think like he used to when he wrote Fear is the Key. But fear is a good thing, obviously, but we have to be better exposed to arguments. We have to have the backing of science always. Number 18, well, the fear of dying and the fear of killing with Afraid to Shoot Strangers. I will tackle the song later, but this is important for us to mention. Number 17, Iron Maiden, politically engaged here. Lots of political lyrics. They talk about corruption on Be Quick or Be Dead, the fact that corporations and political organizations, they can be pretty corrupt and not really care about what the people have in mind. The war in Iraq in 1991 was also a huge topic in the early 90s, and it's represented on the album. Number 16 now, that cyclical vibe. What do I mean by this cycle? Well, you have 12 songs, right? And you also have a full moon on the cover. So you can picture 12 months of the year. You can picture circular actions, the idea of the tree, urban legends, the full moon, Halloween, tales. So, yeah, you can picture this plethora of themes that are feeding the fear and this 12-month cycle. The lyrics tackling lots of things that generate fear in society's minds. Number 15, the idea of living with a fever. They use that idea quite a lot on the album. What is fever in the first place? It's a response to an infection. It's a defensive stance. It's an attempt of protection and salvation. So we can link this idea to an infected society, and that's why we have this constant fever, this infection that really sparks fear, and the whole machine is just set, the creation of this despair. Number 14, the end of innocence, the abrupt change from childhood to adulthood. Now we have to be truly independent. You really need to face your struggles. This is pictured on childhood's end. And it's a nod to Pink Floyd, the great album from 1972, Obscured by Clouds. They have a song with the same title. And I've also listened to that album quite a lot, Number 13 now, we're going to talk about Dr. Richard Kimball from The Fugitive, the series from the early 60s, and the movie with Harrison Ford, This song sounds like The Prisoner from, The Number of the Beast, strong riffs, and this guy is framed for murder, sentenced to death, but he escapes from custody, and he sets out to really chase his wife's killer, and he's hunted by various U.S. Marshals. And the 30 minutes and 30 seconds, I think there's a really, really groovy riff. Number 12, the song Chains of Misery, singing style from Bruce Dickinson, the build-up to the chorus is amazing, fabulous, it's catchy. Again, really Motley Crue, Kiss vibes here. It's a classic heavy metal tune, paying homage to the new album Tropes here. Number 11, the continuation of Charlotte the Harlot with From Here to Eternity. We see that Charlotte now, she's fallen in love with the really devilish motorcycle beast, Satan, and it becomes her downfall. It's a little boogie, AC/DC that begins fun times, along with this drum pattern and the slick riff that goes over top. And number 10, now we have the double studio LP, have 12 songs. It's a long album because we're entering the CD era. Number 9, well, the lackluster song, The Apparition. So it's a bit contrived. It's got some hard rock vibes, but it's a bit too repetitive. Number 8, talking about football, talking about hooligans on Weekend Warrior. Number 7, well, Steve Harris focusing on the production now, You have Yannick Gers bringing more and more compositions to the table. So it was an opportunity for a more collaborative moment with Iron Maiden, more people bringing ideas to the table. Which takes me to number 6, which is the staple live vibe for the tropes, for the gang vocals, for Fear of the Dark. You might have listened to the song a gazillion times. Still, it's constructed as the perfect song to be played live. It became a true metal classic, and I dare to say it was the last classic from the classic era. It's the last song that's played live that still has got that classic vibe. But now let's go swiftly to the top 5. Well, my number 5 is the Fear of the Dark suite. The images that are generated with the lyrics. Melodies that even my mom and my neighbor can sing to. Simply wow. 30 years later, the mix also sounds fantastic. Number 4, well, keeping up with the times and writing a contemporary record in the early 90s to keep the youth focused on your work, to be relevant, especially because you're playing lots of live gigs and you want to be out there. And now you've been playing for over 13 years, and you have that sleek production and mix. And Martin Birch back, and it was actually the last album that Birch did before he retired. Number 3, now the podium, we got Judas Be My Guide. What a great song. You have Dave Murray, you have Bruce Dickinson, great partnership. You have a hard rock feel, a great analogy with society today behaving like Judas, or worshiping Judas's ideas. That means betraying people, right? In order to get compensations, not really caring about anything other than your own agenda. It sounds like he sings, Judas my God, a Judas my God. But it's the guide, but it's the God of betrayal and lack of empathy in today's society. People cherish that, having these things as some sort of divine entity. So it's a song with a simple structure, but it is an important message and a great chorus. Number 2, the anthemic vibe, the atmosphere. I can't really stress it enough. You can sing the melodies. The melodies generate these images in our minds. It's not really easy to do that, and it's a trademark from Iron Maiden. It's something that we should always celebrate. And it will take me to number 1, which is the darkness and the fear itself, the theme on Fear of the Dark. You have 7 minutes, they pass by, and you're taken along this beautiful journey, exploring nyctophobia, slasher images, psychological thrillers, they come into view. It's a great song with arena rock, vocals, the great material. It's kind of like the culmination of the whole thing with the classic tropes, reflecting the early 90s, So you jump into this time capsule, you revisit the themes that were really important back then, and are still relevant now. But they help you better understand how things were in the early 90s, how things have changed and evolved. And you can't really do that without the help of music. This theatrical experience, the sonic moment with speed, stamina, harmonies, twin leads, high notes, war, screams, fear, everything, all the tropes, they're right here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. I ask you to listen to metal whenever you can, and also subscribe and hit the bell button if you can, if you like this type of content. All right, I'm signing out. Music is what music does. Bye now.